All right, the X Man's coming to you live, YouTube live. Um, it's Monday night, and we're looking pretty good for you know, just coming back and reflecting on some things. A lot of crazy things going on in the world right now. But you just gotta remember to stay strong and everything. Um, I was noticing that AI is really taking over the world, and I just advise people to kind of be a little cautious of that. Same thing with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is eventually going to take over society as itself. So, you know, even though it's down to 86,000 right now, I still believe at some point that tier is going to start to rise again. It's just a matter of time. It's just the fact that the government tanked out a little bit, and there was a couple of odds and ends things that were happening that probably shouldn't have been happening. I There's definitely some, you know, turmoil that happens around town. You just got to remember you got to kind of stay strong with it and everything. This week is just as Christmas approaches. There's a lot of things going on. I'm not a big Christmas person personally. I've never been a truly big fan of being that, um, but I kind of know that a lot of people look up to it. You have to have faith in something. It's just part of humanity and what it is. So every day when you look in the mirror, you have to ask yourself, do you like yourself? And a lot of days you might not. And there's always a lot of adversity out there, and it just gets crazy. But you got to remember that there's a purpose for everything, and you have to keep following the path. Sometimes you don't know what the path is going to be. The path could be anything, honestly. It could be anything at all. It's just a matter of how many people want to do something. You know, um, as I've been trying to make some videos, I had actually seen that the only way that I can get monetized on here is to get to 10 million views in 90 days. It doesn't seem unachievable totally. It's definitely a hard task to do. You got to really come up with good content. Now, and again, I have shared some content that isn't mine. Uh, but really, at the end of the day, though, it ain't really about money for me. I kind of want to just get my face out there so that people understand where I come from, what I stand for. And I want prosperity. I want normality. I want the world to be a better place. My mom that passed away, she would have wanted that too. Well, unfortunately, she's not here anymore. And it's very sad that she's not here. You know, as all holidays come, you have to face the truth alone, basically. I made a video earlier about that. And you do. Basing the world alone is tough. It's not easy. But so you have to have a certain mindset to do things. If you have a certain mindset, you can achieve a lot of things. You can get things done. You can make things happen. Um, Me personally, I just want to have a direction to be successful. And I think a lot of people would agree with that with themselves, that being successful is the number one thing in life more than anything. And it's sad to think that way in a lot of ways, but in the other ways, you know that. I always sit back and I think about memories of the 80s and the 90s when, you know, there was no internet. You would go out and you would just have a blast. We'd just go run to the park, or we'd come back, maybe run out in the rain sometimes, hang out the trolley tracks, stuff like that. Things that were just things you did to pass the time away. And those were good times. Nowadays, it's all computerized. Everything's, You got the internet. I'm a victim of it. I've turned into the internet. I've tried to be that type of person. When I look at an algorithm, I want to get an algorithm that works for everybody, where people can relate to things. Um, I'm trying to stay away from politics a lot because I don't really want to get flagged off here. But if I was to answer a question, yes, I like Donnie Trump. What's up? What's up, Jeffrey? How you doing? Hanging tight on here on YouTube. Just trying to build up something. I am going to eventually do a podcast soon, too. I think I'm going to start doing a podcast, but it'll be talking about, the nature of life and how things are going. I mean, there's a lot of fixation on, like, false narratives in the country. Um, a lot of people use sports as an out. You know, uh, Sports is definitely one of those ones where they use it. I use it too. I'm not gonna lie. Like my sports algorithms, I look at it and I kind of say to myself, like, what's the best line to do something? Even the Denver Broncos yesterday, they barely beat the Commanders yesterday, which is kind of crazy. Um, but you know, they looked good enough to win. Defensively, they're a really good team. Right now, the Giants are getting smacked around by the Patriots. The New England Patriots might be for real this year, as much as I didn't want to admit that yet. I saw an interview today on Instagram, and it was Pete Carroll making excuses for Geno Smith. With the Raiders situation, too, this is my personal take on it, since I got a couple viewers. Pete Carroll is still sticking with Geno Smith for the Raiders, right, at 3-10. He has no offensive line. They have no offensive identity other than Brock Bowers. You want to get Gentry going. Gentry's not going to want to go through that after this rookie contract's up. So the Raiders have to make moves to kind of make this better for next year. Do you lose the rest of your games outright and try to get the third or the second pick? Maybe. There's a possibility there. Pete Carroll just seems like he's lost the team. I don't think he's ever really been giving enough around him to make this team better too. Like, at least with Aaron Glenn with the Jets, you kind of see the Jets kind of believing a little bit that they can win games, even though Aaron Glenn can't. Aaron Glenn can't really coach yet, although he's learning. I think maybe the Jets might be okay with Aaron Glenn at some point. We were talking about the bad teams, and like I said, it's all stacked up in mindset now that there's, a bunch of teams in the running right now for the top spots in the NFC, and Seattle is one of them, and the Eagles are number 2. The Eagles go to the Chargers next Monday night. I didn't know that was a Monday night game till tonight. Sparks a little interest. I think people need to have a little bit more faith in the Philadelphia Eagles. I think that they did win a Super Bowl, and I think Jalen Hurts can put it together if he wanted to. Although they should work back off the tush push. They need to get the running game going. The line needs to get healthier. They just got to play better as a unit. But the Eagles have it. They could still compete. I thought the Rams had actually been right there, and then they banked out against the Panthers yesterday. That kind of was like, eek. I mean, nothing against the Panthers, but the Panthers. Nothing against the Panthers, but that just wasn't happening. Shouldn't happen that way. I think the Rams should have played a lot better football, and they didn't. And they lost. And they lost their chance to get that 2 spot. Right now, I think Seattle's the 1 spot, I think. Seahawks looking good. Jackson Smith and Njigba is playing very. He didn't do good yesterday, but he's been kind of consistent for the most part all year. Didn't really have to try against them. The Vikings. The Vikings are another question mark. Like the cleaning of field. What? I don't know what that means. Where'd all my followers go? They're gone? Anyway. Ah, there we go. I got 6 of them. I was going to say, at least get some guys coming on. But yeah, anyway, I mean, whoever's on here, if you're another part of the country, I'm in Delaware County, PA. I just bought a bunch of stuff tonight, man. I gotta stop doing that on TikTok. TikTok's got some of these great deals, though. I'm gonna get those glasses, those special glasses you can see stuff. You're in Ohio? Sorry, you Cleveland Browns fan. Hello, Jeffrey Cortez. Nah, I know. I can't blame you for not being a Browns fan right now. They really haven't done much to. They really haven't done much to make Cleveland a proud city. They're not as bad as the Raiders, though. I think that the Browns could build something there, but they're not. Chicago? Okay. I mean, Chicago, I'll tell you what. That's one state that I haven't been to yet. I haven't been to Ohio State fan. I'll give you a pass in the Ohio State one. But I would say the Steelers, yeah. I like the Steelers, but I'm not a big Aaron Rodgers guy. I just think they put too much into that. You're not born there. I mean, 17 years is a long time. I mean, I was born in Drexel Hill, Pennsylvania, which is close to where I'm at now, and then I guess I was kind of forced to move to Delaware for 9 years. Come on, don't start the crazy shit now. Come on, guys. Don't get crazy with all that. Let's not do that. Let's just have a nice, normal conversation here. I'm starting to finally figure out how to use this thing. So I put it on. If I put it on where it says not for kids, I can actually get to talk to people. I didn't know that. Now that I'm kind of knowing how to use this, it's a little bit easier on me. Hey, anyway, look at my sister texting me. I mean, yeah, Ohio, you know what, the only thing that, really good that came out of Ohio, honestly, I'm not going to lie, is probably Bone Thugs and Harmony. Bone Thugs and Harmony, let me tell you something, when I was a teenager, I don't know how old any of you guys are, but Bone Thugs and Harmony, when they were starting to come in their prime, were probably some of the best rappers of all time. Now you got your Wu-Tangs, and you got Bone Thugs is right there. 38. Yeah, I mean, Bone Thugs is definitely one of them. Because Bone Thugs was the Thuggish Ruggish Bone, and the Crossroads was a huge hit for him. And then, they had their second album, Billy Kidman. Billy the Kid. He was like an old Western. Do I like rap? Yeah, I mean, I like older rap. I don't know what this stuff they call today is. I don't know what this stuff is today that they call rap. I mean, I can't deal with the Squirrel, Kendrick Lamar, and all them. I think that Kendrick Lamar sounds like a squirrel. I just don't really understand the whole new scene of hip hop. I've tried to rap that way, but I can't do it. All right, this dude's like a. Do we always got to get one person? I got to put people in timeout. I got to put people in timeout because they're crazy. Yeah, nah. I mean, it's possible. He might. He actually might be. He might be. He could possibly be on that list. You know, DMX was there. Yep. Yeah, DMX. Yeah, and that's another one. DMX. I mean, obviously, I always thought Tupac was the best of all time. I still do, and but I always thought that DMX was like the Kobe Bryant of hip hop. Like he was right there, but he wasn't ahead of the Jordan, the Jordan of hip hop, which I would think is Tupac. I know people are gonna say Biggie, but with all the Diddy situation is Jim Carrey, maybe. Oprah definitely. Seth Green, maybe. I mean, Seth Green made Robot Chicken. Though that was pretty funny. I've seen the list. Yeah, I'm sure that the list's out there. And there's a real list. It's a list that exists. Problem is, it's like what. The only thing I say about the list is okay. If you're on the list, you're on the list, right? But what are they gonna really do about it? Like, what's the end game of the Epstein list, right? You're on the list, you make the list, you see the list, you got the list. Right. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I mean, there's a list. There's a list. We know Bill Clinton probably should be at the top of the list. But, problem is, there's nothing more you can really do except just know that it happened. I mean, what are you going to do? It's like today I heard about Kevin Petullo getting, his house egged out in Haddonfield. I think it was Haddonfield Heights. I mean, the Eagle fans, they need to, like, calm down here. I've never seen a fan base, and it's not the whole fan base, get so mad that they egg a man's house when their team's 8-4. You lose 2 games in a row and you're looking around like, what happened? That's the National Football League. I mean, maybe in some people's minds, I don't think any of those people were saviors. I mean, I think saviors is the wrong word. I think it was more like they were more people that people looked up to, but they got a fan base that believed that they were better than what they were. Oprah. Oprah was always big in the late 80s, early 90s. Don't forget, Trump went on there and used to be good friends with Oprah, and then all of a sudden he ran for presidency and everything changed. It was very weird that happened. Yeah, I mean, this is all things that have been known for years. It's like Biden's son and a laptop that disappeared. Where did it go? Where did the laptop go? Like nobody talks about that though. They want to talk about that Epstein list and if Trump's on there. People are dying to know that. Like Philadelphia doesn't worry about the crime rate. Or the fact that crimes happen at more than they ever have. And they brought in a DA. They somehow miraculously voted in a DA, Larry Krasner, over and over again. Did you? Yes, the PA, I said I lived in Delco a long time, on and off, I've been around a lot of places, drank a lot of bars, I know a lot of people. I've met a lot of people, I've known that, And one thing that I've learned over time is that, I know a lot of people that have become very successful. And I don't really want to take success. I don't like to ride coattails to say that I would ride to the successfulness of it all. I judge people just on how they are and how they were back then and how they are now. And there's a lot of success there, but there's always going to be ups and downs with being successful too. There's pain, there's anguish. Valley Forge military, yeah, no, I know where it's at. Valley Forge is I don't even think Valley Forge is that far from me. It's probably about 35 minutes from here. Valley Forge is you know, that's a nice area. It's their Coatesville, right? King of Prussia, yeah. 35 minutes. I've been to King of Prussia Mall a couple times. KOP. KOP is a great area. That mall is pretty good, but the last time I went there was like 2006, and I dropped the skid on my toe, so I was like kind of walking around on like a stint the whole time. One thing, my feet really have gotten destroyed over the years. Like I hit by a car in January, and then in 2006 I dropped the skid on my toe, and it was really painful. Yeah, KOP's not bad, you know. They got a bunch of stuff. That it had the mall. They had, they had like there's a lot of job opportunities that are out there too. I've seen them out there. I mean, they're not. I don't even remember what bus you'd have to take to go up there, but I know Karen Prush is not bad, you know. Bam who? Bam Margera? Westchester kid? From, Bam Margera, April Margera. I mean, Bam had a kind of a little bit of a rough road the last couple years. But, I think he's getting better from what I hear, I've seen a couple Instagram posts. I think he's out in Albuquerque. The last time I seen him, he was in Albuquerque on his Instagram page. I don't know why. I kind of do know what goes on there. Breaking Bad, but, is that real? I don't know. I mean, it's a great plot story, but is there truth behind that? Is Albuquerque, New Mexico, where they do the meth and all that? I don't know. I never got to meet Bam. I probably wouldn't mind meeting Bam one day if I could. He wasn't one of the people I did meet. I met a couple ex NFL players. I met what's his name? Damn, I forget his name already. Ric Flair, I met him. 96? Oh, so you haven't seen him since before he was doing that, because 96, wow. That's a long time ago. In 96, I was like 14. I wasn't living in Delaware County in 96. I was living in Delaware at the time. I hope he does well, too. I mean, I don't know too much about him. Yeah, I mean, Margera, I'm trying to think of the other ones that were on there. I'm trying to think who the other guy is that's on there. Knoxville. Johnny Knoxville. And Steve-O. And, when Don Vito was alive. Now, what is Don Vito to... He was like the uncle of Bam when he was alive, right? Don Vito. What are you doing, Bam? What are you trying to do to me? Why are you trying to take my car and throw it in? I'm like... Argh. Bam Margera. Yeah. That was Bam being Bam, man. I never really got to meet him, though, but I know that I'm sure he's probably doing something. Yeah, maybe he'll come back, I know he was doing stuff. Phil's brother. Okay, yeah, Phil the dad. I mean, I vaguely have been to Westchester. I do know it's like exit 22? Is it 22? Or exit 33? It's one of them exits. Is it 33 or 22? One of them, I think. I was in Westchester Barnaby's before I was in what was it? It was Ram's Head at the time. They had that dungeon, but now that's Santino's. But yeah, Westchester's a really nice area. I've always said Westchester is really solid. You know, it's kind of like a media type of situation. I'm sure you know what media is. Media is like a very nice area, correlated. You know, um, like I said, I work at Bernie's Pretzels part time. I don't know if you ever heard of Bernie's Pretzels. Probably the best pretzel in the entire United States. Definitely the best in PA. Bernie's best in the biz. They come with Rosati's water ice. Great, probably the coolest job I've ever had. Love it. I only do it 2 or 3 days a week, but I love the Bernie's pretzels. Bernie's pretzels is solid. You got people coming from California just to get Bernie's pretzels. It's just amazing stuff. Trust me. Mutter's Museum? Not sure. I'm not even sure what that is. I know there's I know about the Please Touch Museum. I heard about that one. But yeah. But anyway, I think I'm going to get off here for a little bit. I'm glad to know that this actually works. Elephant Man in there? Yeah, I heard about Elephant Man. But I think I'm going to get off here. I'm glad that this actually works this way. Now that I know that this is going to work, I'm going to try to use this again. Possibly Wednesday night when I get back from work. Anyway, I'm going to get off. X-Man out for now. See you, man.